So just finished breakfast with some really awesome content creators, podcasters in the pro audio space. It was just incredible to even sit at a table with all those guys. And man, so cool. And yeah, now I've got to rush over to the convention center. I've got to catch up with Matt McGlynn from Roswell Audio. First up, I've got a meeting with him, and then we're going to go around to a bunch of booths and talk to a bunch of awesome hardware and plug-in manufacturers today. We've got heaps to do. Anyway, let's go. I'm down at the Roswell booth with Matt McGlynn. Now, all of you on my channel should be familiar with Matt. I've talked about his products a lot on my channel, particularly the mic parts kits. But for those of you that don't know, he has another company. He's a pretty busy guy called Roswell Pro Audio, and he's the man himself. We'll start talking about some of your Roswell mics, Matt.
Yeah, right on. Mitch, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
And thanks for doing the videos about the DIY stuff. So if you haven't seen it, Mitch did a really great video about the mod kit that we have for the Studio Projects C1, which is a really solidly built mic, but it's kind of bright for a lot of people and a lot of sources. And so we have this inexpensive mod kit that Mitch built one online, and actually your demo of here's what it sounds like before, here's what it sounds like after, for me was compelling. And I've done that myself before,
Yep.
But we point people to that because it's like, you did such a great job of demonstrating it. I'm like, yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
No one else needs to do that demo,
video.
Just go watch that one. So anyway, thank you for that. So yeah, Roswell Pro Audio, so we're here at NAMM day 3, and so Roswell Pro Audio was born out of Mic Parts. So Mic Parts is my DIY company, and what was happening years ago is that people were asking me, look, I'm sold on the concept of what you make, but I don't want to build it. Can you build it for me? And I thought, well, there must be a market for this, and so that's what Roswell Pro Audio came from, because microphoneparts.com is the world's worst brand name. So I needed to come up with something else, so that's Roswell. So we have 2 lines of microphones. The lower cost line, they're all under 500 US, and we call it the Mini K series. The Mini just means they're small, although it's not a compromised microphone. It just happens to be small. It is an actual 34 millimeter large diaphragm design, all of them. Not 32 millimeters, not 25 millimeters, which a lot of people will tell you, oh, it's a large diaphragm because it's 25 millimeters.
Yeah, it's not
it doesn't
the same
work that
thing.
way.
Yep.
So these are true 34 millimeter capsules. So we have 5 mics in that line. This is the KD, which is made for kick drum.
Yep.
It's a specialty product. Although the guy that runs front of house for Billy Idol and the Heartbreakers and a bunch of bands, we have a picture of him on the website because he came by the booth and he said, this is the bass cab mic I've been looking for 30 years.
That's amazing.
So we sent him one because he's friends with mutual friends over at Royer, and so we sent him one, and he hasn't done a gig without it. So then the 4 main mics in the product line, the Mini K product line, Mini K47, Mini K47X, 67X, and 87. So we use the same microphone body for all of them, but they all differ on the inside, right? They literally all have different capsule designs and different circuits. The 2 that have the X in the name, the X stands for transformer. So in general, the sort of shorthand approach to think about this is that the 2 X models have a different circuit with a transformer, and they sound like vintage tube mics. So the 2 characteristics that people love about old tube gear are harmonic saturation and transient compression. And you can look those up if you don't know what those terms are, but you probably know that people love old tube gear. Well, the reason they love old tube gear is for those 2 effects. Old tube mics are actually usually really noisy, which people don't love, but they tolerate it because they want those other effects. So you don't need a vacuum tube to get those effects. So we did it in a solid state circuit, a phantom powered circuit, and that's the Mini K47X and 67X. So those microphones don't give you, they're not neutral or transparent. They don't give you back exactly what you put in. They enhance the sound. They thicken the sound or add girth or grit or whatever words you like to use for that. Whereas the Mini K47 and the Mini K87 are cleaner. So they have more headroom. They're a little more neutral in tone. Mini K87, it's our best selling voiceover microphone. It's also great on drum overheads and piano, acoustic guitar. People love it on loud guitar cabs because it has a lot of headroom. Mini K67X is more for like mix-ready vocals. So if you want to do less processing to your vocal, it's great for that. It's also great for guitar cab. And then the 47X is more colored, also has that harmonic saturation effect. Mini K47 was the first mic we ever made, And it's a favorite on drum overheads and also piano. The capsule in this mic has really weirdly fast transient response, almost like a small diaphragm mic. Small diaphragm mics are noisier because capsule noise is inversely proportional to diameter. So you get the fast transient response effect of a pencil mic, but it's a large diaphragm, so it's not as noisy as a pencil mic. Yes. So they're really punchy on overheads and drums. And then we've got the Colares, amazing big vocal mic and really underpriced. So this is modeled after the vintage 251, the Elam 251. Yep. Those cost 10 grand for a reproduction, 25 grand for an original.
Yep.
This mic is under 1,500 bucks. It's not a tube mic, but it sounds like it. Delphos 2 is kind of like our U87, not a clone, different circuit, higher sensitivity, lower distortion. It does have the 3 polar patterns and the switchable pad. Better bass response, wider bandwidth overall. So that's under $1,000. Yep. And then the Aztec is our first tube mic, and that's $3,000 US. It's the most expensive thing we've done, but all the magazines say that they tested it against mics in the $5,000 to $7,000 range,
yep.
and that this was right in there.
And we're looking at it and thinking, I'm thinking by the shape, a C12 or something along those lines. Is that what we're kind of talking about?
It is a C12 here? Sort of visual, but yep. Sonically it's more of a 251.
That's good to know, yeah.
And then at this show we're introducing a new room mic, so we use the same housing, but this is a switchable cardioid figure 8. And what makes it a room mic, and this was designed to meet the needs of one of our endorsees. And he said, can you build me a room mic? And I said, well, yeah, but what is that?
Yep.
What makes it a room mic? And he said, well, for drum room, you want it to be dark. You don't want a lot of cymbal in your room mic because you compress it. And yeah, you can run it through an EQ, but EQ isn't free.
Yep.
You know, you get artifacts, especially if you're mixing the dry signal back in, so you can get some weird phasing. And so we built this to be darker. So you wouldn't use this on everything, but it's great on drum room. The frequency response is basically ruler flat to about 4 kilohertz.
Yep.
And then a very smooth first order filter roll off. So it starts to decline. So it's down 3 dB around 6,500.
Yep.
So it doesn't have any top end on it by design.
Yep.
So the 2 applications that people love this on are rooms. A pair of these can do AB, XY, mid-side plumb line. So 2 figure 8s, 90 degrees, that's plumb line. And the other application is guitar cab. Because you can point this right at the cone, which normally you would never do because it sounds punchy, harsh. Bright, harsh. Exactly.
Yep.
But this doesn't have any capability of being bright or harsh.
Yeah. Yep.
So you can point this right at the cone, and it's a different sound than you'd get by putting a different mic, midway down off the dust cap. So it's just another option for that. So
that's an amazing.
That's the Roswell line in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And my voice held out.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.